Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Nayasim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. White woman decided to pull a very fast one on a black man in a train. And why did she call the cops on a black man? She said she wasn't comfortable with a black man, and he was the only black man in the train, and that she didn't like the way the man was seated. just, just can you imagine? In a public transport. So they called the cops. The cops came, right, and arrested him. And he asked them, why are you arresting me? You didn't take her statement or anything, because if you are arresting me, at least take her statement. The cops were like, oh, it looks like this one he knows better. Maybe we are not supposed to do this. And ended up leaving him. And I am asking, how many black men may have experienced this kind of something because a Karen decided to pull her Karen's card on a black man? And what if this man doesn't know he's right? And what if he is not popular because he is a popular one? And I am sure he knows also he's right. He wasn't fearful. So how many people has this happened to that did not make it to the media? Both the cops, the woman should be apprehended. Let's hear from them. Let's get into this video.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how black wealth, black fame, black success does not protect us against racism. When some arbitrary white woman can make a complaint on a train and all that doesn't stop you from being removed. This is what happened to Alex O'Keefe, a screenwriter, a former speechwriter for Senator Elizabeth Warren. And this is how police had him after said unfounded complaint from a white woman. Let's take a look at the video.
The one black dude on the train because this white woman said she didn't like the way I was sitting on the train. So you call the police. You call the police to arrest the one black dude on the train. I haven't done anything illegal.
Let's go.
I haven't done anything illegal. I haven't done anything illegal. I am sitting on a train and one white woman didn't like my presence.
Give me your arm.
Resisting what? Resisting what? What are you trying to arrest me for?
You've been disorderly.
I was sitting on a train. I was sitting on a train and you're trying to arrest me for what? Can I not even know what you're trying to arrest me for? Because a white woman, this
Stop
white
resisting.
woman, resisting what? Am I being arrested?
Yes, you heard it correctly. Alex O'Keefe, an award-winning screenwriter for the FX series The Bear, a former speechwriter for senators in the United States Senate like Elizabeth Warren. And none of that stopped him from being removed from that train because this white woman said she didn't like the way he was sitting. Alex was removed from the train, detained, questioned, and then released. And they didn't even interview the white woman who made the complaint because by that time, the train had left. As I said, black wealth, black success, black fame does not protect us or insulate us from racism. Prove me wrong. Y'all have the day you deserve.
I genuinely don't want to be in any type of racial situation that involves the police. Like, I'm getting arrested because of some racial thing. Because I just seen that the writer of that FX show, The Bear, very popular show. I haven't watched it, but very popular. He was on a train in New York. A white lady didn't like the way he was sitting, his posture. Called the cops. They stopped the train, arrested him, detained him, let him go eventually. If that were to happen to me, I just don't know how I would react. Because I have a huge, authority. Sometimes it can really, especially if you're being disrespectful. Like, I'm a grown man now. Like, especially you being disrespectful and you like authority. Something in me, sometimes it triggers me. Like, if you get disrespectful, I get disrespectful too. I'm not gonna lie. And it would be hard for me to like tell myself, oh, you know, you surrounded by a whole bunch of the police and a whole bunch of white people. Chill. But like, imagine that happened. You get the police calling you, train stopped, and taken to jail because an older white woman didn't like the way you was sitting, your posture. And then imagine if they asked her, I didn't see this in the video, but imagine if they asked her, you okay? Because there was a woman sitting beside her, and it looked like she asked her, you're okay? And that, I've seen that before, like people, you know, ask the person who caused everything, are you okay? That, like, I would got ticked off like so bad and so fast. I just don't ever want to be in that position because I don't know how I would react. And you know, I'm a calm, cool, collected guy, 99% of the time. But if something like that happens, I don't know.
Yo, this story right here had me heated. Alex O'Keefe, a writer, you might know him from The Bear, and from the speeches he's written, was riding a train in New York City when the police stopped the entire train just to arrest him. And why? Because he was the only black man on that train, and a white woman said, I don't like his posture. That's all it took. Now, Alex kept asking, what did I even do? What crime did I commit? But he never got an answer. They cuffed him up, dragged him off that train, and later let him go. Because, of course, he hadn't done anything. His only so-called offense, being black on the train in NYC. And here's the part that should bother everybody: posture is not a crime. Somebody's fear is not a crime. Whoever gave the order to stop that train, that woman who made a false report, and those officers who went along with it, every single one needs to be held accountable. Because let's be real, this can't be normalized. We're not going to accept this. And trust me, we're watching. The whole world is watching.
Arrest the one black dude on the train because this white woman said she didn't like the way I was sitting on the train. So you call the police. You call the police to arrest the one.
That's footage from Alex O'Keefe, who was on an MTA train the other day headed toward Connecticut when a woman on the train didn't like the way that he was sitting, and he ended up getting detained for that. If you're not familiar with Alex O'Keefe, he is a screenwriter who's known for his work on The Bear, and he's also done speech writing for Democratic politicians like Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren. Allegedly, he was on a train when a woman complained that she didn't like how he was sitting. She asked him to change his posture, and when he didn't, she reported him to the train conductor. The train conductor then called the police, and when the police arrived, they pulled him off the train, they handcuffed him, they detained him, even though no crime had been committed. He asked for a lawyer. He pointed out that the woman who complained about him was never even asked to make a statement, and eventually he was released. Now, this is very disturbing. This is a very clear example of how racial bias shows up, how power is used to police black bodies. The experience of being othered, surveilled, or criminalized simply for being present. That is something that should not be happening, yet continues to happen in 2025. And the fact that this was recorded and shared widely means that many people are witnessing this. And I think for a lot of folks, this can re-trigger earlier experiences of discrimination and racialized violence. Incidents like this erode trust in public systems. This is not a one-off event. This happens all the time. This is part of a lifetime of experiences. And the reason why we need to be talking about it is to name systemic racism and implicit bias. We need to support people who have been harmed, because if we don't talk about these incidents, they are treated as anomalies or bad luck, rather than expressions of larger structures that marginalize people of color.
Have you ever wondered why it's always black people who get targeted for no reason? Just recently, in New York City, something happened that shows just how deep this goes. A white woman didn't like how a black man was sitting on the train, so what did she do? She called the police. That black man, Alex O'Keefe, an award-winning screenwriter, was dragged off the train by the cops. For what? Sitting on the train? Let me say that again. He wasn't breaking any laws. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But because one woman decided she didn't like the way he was sitting, the police showed up, pulled him off, humiliated him, interrogated him, and for what? To arrest him for nothing. And this isn't just about one woman's complaint. It's about how black men are seen as threats for just existing. Why didn't the police de-escalate? Why didn't they just ask him to move? Why did they have to go this far? If Alex wasn't a famous screenwriter, would this even make the news? We need answers. We need the names of those officers. We need to know why they're not being held accountable. Enough is enough. Stop using the police as your personal weapon against Black people. It's time for accountability.
So let's talk about what just went down in New York City. So Alex O'Keefe, he is an award-winning screenwriter for FX The Bear and a former speechwriter for Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, was handcuffed and pulled off a train. And why? Because a white woman decided she didn't like the way he was sitting. Instead of de-escalating, police stopped the train, dragged him off, and detained him. He was interrogated, humiliated, and then released. This isn't just about one woman's complaint. It's about law enforcement treating a Black man like a threat over posture. Where is the accountability? Who were these officers? Why are they not being disciplined? And let's be clear, if O'Keefe wasn't a nationally recognized writer, would this story even make headlines? We need answers. We need the names of those officers, and we need to know why they haven't been disciplined. And let's not sugarcoat it. This is racist. I am so sick of seeing Black men criminalized because someone decided to make a phone call instead of minding their business. Stop using the police as your personal weapon. Enough is enough.
Have you ever wondered why it's always Black people who get targeted for no reason? Just recently, in New York City, something happened that shows just how deep this goes. A white woman didn't like how a Black man was sitting on the train, so what did she do? She called the police. That Black man, Alex O'Keefe, an award-winning screenwriter, was dragged off the train by the cops. For what? Sitting on the train. Let me say that again. He wasn't breaking any laws. He wasn't doing anything wrong. But because one woman decided she didn't like the way he was sitting, the police showed up, pulled him off, humiliated him, interrogated him, and for what? To arrest him for nothing? And this isn't just about one woman's complaint. It's about how Black men are seen as threats for just existing. Why didn't the police de-escalate? Why didn't they just ask him to move? Why did it have to go this far? If Alex wasn't a famous screenwriter, would this even make the news? We need answers. We need the names of those officers. We need to know why they're not being held accountable. Enough is enough. Stop using the police as your personal weapon against Black people. It's time for accountability.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Alex O'Keefe, one of the writers of the FX TV show The Bear, a Democratic speechwriter, someone who's won an Emmy Award, and like a speechwriter for Elizabeth Warren, was on a train at like one of those Metropolitan Transportation Authority trains on the way to Connecticut. It's a Black guy. The only Black guy on the train. And he was sitting down minding his own business. And this lady, the old crusty one, she stopped and questioned him on his sitting position and told him to correct his position sitting on the train. Stranger. And he refused and just continued to mind his own business. And because he didn't do what she wanted him to do, she called the conductor of the train. The conductor of the train stopped the train, called the police, and they arrested him. And then they handcuffed him and took him off of the train onto the platform. And then only when he reminded them that, and like people are videotaping this whole thing, only when he reminded them that they didn't get her statement, didn't question anybody, and there was no crime that he committed and he had no access to a lawyer, they let him go. At least that's what he's saying in a story that's in the Independent right now. Yeah, because it's all over the news. It's on his Instagram. You can watch the whole video there too. It's on TikTok. And it is going everywhere because this guy won an Emmy Award. Like, he's famous. And to make matters worse, he's alleging that this lady, her friend, said some comment about him not being like the minority anymore. In their state, maybe, or in their city. I don't know what they meant. But that's what he's alleging, that she said that as well. Can you imagine Like, this is so disappointing, but this is also just like, I've never felt more furious about something like wanting somebody to just be put underneath the jail before. She should lose everything. She should be banned from taking the train. She is blatantly racist. So because this young man doesn't sit the way you want him to sit, you're literally going to have him picked up and arrested. This is literally like Emmett Till, but in like 2025. That she has the power to summon the police to the train, stop the train, and take this one black guy off of the train because she doesn't like the way he's sitting. This old white lady. So this is from the story in The Independent. Told by another passenger that he's not the minority while waiting for the police to arrive as well. Can you imagine this? So you can't just sit and exist on the train in Connecticut or on the way to Connecticut anymore without being arrested because some white lady wants it to be so. Make it so for her, right? Those police officers should lose their jobs or have to be retrained, or they should be on desk duty. That lady should be banned from the train. You know, her friend should be banned from the train too. They are clearly racists. It's ridiculous. And we probably wouldn't hear about this if he was a regular guy. But because he's famous, that's why we're hearing about it.
Award-winning Alex O'Keefe was arrested, just taken right off of a train. Now, this should have been a normal day. He was on his way to Connecticut, no problem, by himself, just sitting there, when an old white woman was trying to teach him posture and trying to tell him how he could sit on this train that she was on. And when he didn't bow down to her, they had the train stopped, called the police, and had him arrested. You cannot make this shit up. The crazy thing is, he didn't even pitch a fit or run his mouth. He just wasn't listening to her. You see, if it was me, I would have ran my ginger ass mouth. He was taken to the police department, and he was literally just treated like shit. They interrogated him, and then they realized, maybe this isn't what she said it was. You think? Also, when he was still on the train and he was trying to ask why he was being arrested, they tried to get him for resisting arrest. Even though there were people on that train that said he done nothing wrong. Just another day in the land of the free.
Let's talk about what just went down in New York City. Alex O'Keefe, yes, the award-winning screenwriter for FX's The Bear, and a former speechwriter for Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, was literally handcuffed and dragged off a train. And why? Because a white woman didn't like the way he was sitting. Instead of de-escalating, police stopped the entire train, pulled him off in front of everyone, interrogated him, humiliated him, and then released him without charges. This is not just about one woman's complaint. This is about law enforcement treating a black man like a threat over something as small as posture. Where's the accountability? Who were these officers? Why haven't they been disciplined? And let's be real. If O'Keefe wasn't a nationally recognized writer, this probably wouldn't have made a single headline. That's the reality. Stop using police as your personal weapon. Stop criminalizing black men because you're uncomfortable. This cannot keep happening. Enough is enough. Why haven't they been disciplined? And let's be real. If O'Keefe wasn't a nationally recognized writer, this probably wouldn't have made a single headline. That's the reality. Stop using police as your personal weapon. Stop criminalizing black men because you're uncomfortable. This cannot keep happening. Enough is enough.
It's 2025 and we still going through this? Like, get a grip. We're not going anywhere.
This white woman said she didn't like the way I was sitting on the train, so you call the police. You call the police to arrest the one black dude on the train. I haven't done anything illegal. I haven't done anything illegal. I haven't done anything illegal. I am sitting on a train and one white woman didn't like my presence.
That's horrible. That's actually Alex O'Keefe. He's actually a black screenwriter. And that doesn't even matter because a Karen is going to be a Karen. I'm just wondering if the roles were reversed and he called the cops instead of her, were they just going to come arrest her without questioning her first? It's just ridiculous because us minding our business is not being suspicious. It's just you're miserable. Our presence just irritates you. And I'm not even going to use your age as an excuse because at the end of the day, you're old enough to know better. I don't know, y'all. We're going to have to start protesting these Karens. Y'all let me know what y'all think because that's insane.
So yes, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the video of the old lady on the New York City subway who got Alex O'Keefe, like he I think he produced the Bear and others as well, and she had to like tell the conductor to stop the train because she saw how the way he was sitting, and wow, he was like, I guess he was like explaining to the cops about I don't know what happened and stuff. And then after he explained to them that, the cops actually got the handcuffs, and he actually put him in handcuffs. And you see the video, you're just like, are you kidding me? And I was just like, this is ridiculous how people they do this a lot. They always accuse certain people, like of certain crimes that they didn't do. Like, come on, man. Don't you got other people have enough time on their plate to do something else different and complain about ridiculous things that are this small? Can't you just like, if you don't like something that you don't like, just either keep it to yourself or just go like, oh, go about your way, move somewhere else, or like, just kind of like, yeah, do what you gotta do so you won't like make a big scene out of it, you know. And people, I saw the comments on the videos on TikTok. The people called the old lady Karen. I was like, wow, that's kind of, I guess, kind of harsh, but yeah, she was being a Karen on that subway that day. And it's crazy, you know, unbelievable. And for him, I think he's probably like, I can't believe this happened to me, getting arrested on the train because an old lady saw the way I was sitting. You know, I bet he did he should have done like a video vlog about what happened. And fans would be like, oh man, we saw a video, bro. We saw it happen, and people were like, oh, that old lady does not have the right to do that. She should have minded her own business and just fell asleep or something, or read her book or something. Which, yeah. And I'm so glad that I have not to deal with situations like that on trains, or definitely not on buses neither. Thank God I don't do that kind of stuff. Thank God. It's just like, it ruins. I guess it kind of ruins a little bit sometimes, where it's like it's like, you know, if something like happens, like, oh, if I was coughing and then I got my like inhaler, and then also then if it's like a bus or something like that or something like that, and then one of the kids was like a girl, she saw me like pull out like a inhaler, she thought it was some kind of like a weed thing with like a bong thing. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, just an inhaler. And then I explained to her, and it's like, no, it's not, it's a weed bong. I've seen those before. They disguise it like that. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever you want to believe in. And then all of a sudden the bus driver was like, what's going on over there? And also I told the bus driver, I was like, oh, she thinks this is like a weed bong thing. But I tell her like, oh, this is my inhaler. And she's, and the bus driver looks at her like, no, this is not a weed bong, this is the inhaler thing. She's like, cause I know I know a friend who has a son who has this thing too, and he has breathing problems too. So I look at the girl, and I'm like, ha, told you so. Yeah, so that's just like, if in a situation, if that happened to me before a long time ago, I'm say if it ever happened to me before, but it never happened to me, but no. But yeah, for him, I feel sorry for him. Alex O'Keefe, I definitely feel sorry for him, and yeah, it's just unbelievable, but yeah. And hopefully the video, give some heart, comment, and favorite too, and share it as well too.
This is all I got from this video, and I am going to say this. Some things are really so hard to swallow, but this is not okay. Nobody should normalize this. And you know why we got to know this? You and I got to know this because it happened to someone that is not small. It happened to someone that knows his right. It happened to a big person, right? And what of the ones that has happened to people that do not have anybody to speak up for them, and people that probably do not have social media and all that. Now, let me tell you something. The fact that the cops were very much ready to arrest that man tells you a lot, that they are still slave patrol. I said what I said. The fact that they were ready to take him off just because a white woman was not comfortable with his presence in a train station, like in the train I'm in to stay. Wait, if you do not like to sit with people, black people, or people that do not look like you, buy yourself a jet or buy yourself a helicopter and start getting into a public transport and want to make people uncomfortable, because you make that man very uncomfortable. Ended up calling the cops, and the cops wanted to arrest him. And thank God he knows he's right too. And he asked, but she has not made any statements. And they are like, oh, I think we can mess around with this one. Now, let me tell you something. You see, black people, no matter how rich you are, there is actually one white woman somewhere that is scared of you. That's why most times when I see all these black conservatives, I look at them, what I do is they will still call the cops on you for not just a reason, because they do not need to have a reason to call the cops on a black person. That is something I and you, we should know. I am sure black people know that because it is their experience every day. You know, so you can imagine the ones that do not have the guts to speak because they are scared. I remember I have told this story several times on this channel. There was a video that broke me one day. That video, I will never forget it. That is why I keep talking about it. A young black man that he was just going home. And the next thing, the cops pull a young boy. Because they are all, no matter how, even if you are 12 years, they will still be scared. That is how stupid it is. They pulled up on the young man. Thank goodness an older black woman was behind the young boy. Thank goodness. And they wanted to arrest him. And the woman pulled out her phone and started asking, why you want to arrest? You know, straight up, her voice, she raised her, she wasn't screaming, but she wasn't talking to them. She was talking to them peacefully, but she was not fearful. I think that is the right word to use. She was not fearful. She was very bold and asked them, why do you want to arrest the young boy that is going home? The boy started screaming and crying that my mama is waiting for me at home. I have never in my entire life heard such word. That is to tell you how scared the young man was. He was very scared that something might happen. Why? Because they've been doing it. It is not because he was just scared, because that is black people's story. The black woman was recording and told them to let that boy go, that he did not do anything. I think he went to run an errand and he just kept saying, my mama is waiting for me at home and all that. And the black woman was telling them, and moreover, she was like, you are not even supposed to talk to the boy without even something like that. And they eventually ran away. So my question is, what if the black woman was not there? What if? That is to tell you that it's a norm to them. I have also brought videos of black young men. Like, there is no kind of video that I have not brought here. But this is just me refreshing your memories so that some people will be like, Do you know what? I know what I am saying 100%. I am the one that bring all these videos here. So my brain, I am still very young. My brain is that I have a very retentive memory that I remember whatever that I have dropped on this channel. The one that there is no one that I have seen so many videos that deserve so much answer from them that we need to ask them, why do you people do this? Because they are not normal. They are not normal behaviors. White women, you can do better. I am not telling you because you will listen, because tomorrow again, I will still bring a video of one of you calling the cops on a black man. Just a few days ago, I brought one who was trying so hard to put a black man in probably to jail or something, which did not work out. So black people wake up on daily to this kind of news. That is how sad it is. You all can do better. And if you think you do not want to see people that look like me, get you a private car or a private jet or whatever you want to get. But leave my people alone. Bye for now.